Hi. So I'm inside your state and federal programs access SharePoint level, and we're looking at the bilingual folder and specifically inside the 2018-19 folder. You let me know that there were some issues with editors having access to files within the Enos Garcia folder. And I wanted to show you how to look at who has access, what their access is, and how to change it, and also how to restore a version history. So first of all, right now this is open, may not be open in your view, and you can turn it on in two ways. One, you can use the little info button. Two, you can click here and look at details. So I have selected to look at the details specifically for this folder because that is where you have set permissions on who has the ability to do what. So if we're going to manage access here, we're going to see a couple of things. First, you're going to see the default group permissions for this site. And we have owners, which is your team in your office. They can edit, delete, change, share. You have ownership permissions, which means you are the builder. You can do anything you want. State and federal program access members and state and federal program access visitors have view permissions. They do not have editing permissions according to this setting. So if you've created access for editing, you have done so by sharing a link. And I might adjust your methods perhaps. So let's look real quick. Right here, you've got people in Taos schools with this link can edit this item. So that basically means if this link has been shared with anyone, this person, Rose, can provide this same link to anyone else and they will also be able to edit it. So this could be the root of your problem, but it's hard to say for sure at this point in time. I'm not sure why or if you intentionally shared editing permissions for Rose. If you wanted to get rid of this, you can just remove the link and no one will be able to access the contents of this folder and edit it via that link. This link appears to be more correct. This is a view-only link. So anyone who has access here, Darlene, Gladys, Joella, Maria, Mary, Olivia, Patricia, Rose, again, Teddy, and Ursula have access to edit this folder. Have access to view the items in this folder, not edit. Although I do see that there were edits made by some of those people. So if this was not the way you wanted to share, you can close this out and do it again. So if we wanted to share the selected item with other people, and we didn't want to send a link, let's see. Okay, first of all, in the link settings, you want to do specific people, not people with existing access, not just people in Taos schools, because that's everybody. So specific people and not allow editing. And this is, I'm sure this is essentially what you did here, which seems to me to be correct. So my only hunch right now is that somehow the link that you shared with Rose got shared with other people. What about grant access? Okay, so grant access is another option aside from sending a link, which might be a better choice. So if I say put Rose up here, and I give her permissions here, view mesh, view, then she's going to get information, but it's not going to be related to a link. It's just she'll be able to access this page and this folder. I'm not adding any access to make your life any more difficult. So we've gone over what is here and maybe how you could update some of the permissions and what the error might be, although we aren't 100% sure. And then I want to show you how to look up the versions history. So if we're going to look at, we want to look at the file level. So if we go into this one, which I think is the file that you're curious about, people making edits, we can click here to show version history. We can see all the cataloged changes for 16 versions. And if you wanted to, instead of say Olivia made a change and you were like, whoops, Olivia shouldn't be making changes, and you went back in and edited those changes, you could instead say have gone back to your last change of 9/18 click your drop down and say restore version 10, which is the last one you really wanted. And then everyone here's changes would be, obsolete, and you'd be sure you were back to square one. I'm not sure that that's what happened or what you actually want to do, but that's how the version history restoring works. And that is it. So I know I haven't answered all your questions, because you can see here in the version history that many people have made changes. And to my understanding, these names were in a list that appeared to only have view access. So I'm not sure how they went about making changes, and we'll want to get to the bottom of that. But that is the overview of editing permissions, different kinds of permissions, link versus just a direct sharing, and how to check and restore versions from the version history.